You're welcome back from that quick timeout. It's still DayBreak here on Trust TV, and it's the phone-in segment where you get to have your say. Now, today we'll be talking about the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Now, we know that, a lot has been in the news, and in the latest series of the controversial expulsions that have rocked the Nigerian Senate and Nigeria in general, over the years, several lawmakers have been sidelined over political clashes, corruption allegation, and defiance of leadership, raising concerns about due process and legislative integrity. So as the Red Chamber faces a fresh scrutiny, we're asking you to weigh in on the matter and tell us what you think about the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti. Is this a step in the right direction, or it's an abuse of power? Now, keeping in mind, according to the reports we watched, she was suspended because of, her altercation with the Senate president. And from what all the lawmakers said, like we saw in the reports there, they spoke about how she went to Brekete to talk about it, and the altercation that happened with it, according to them, was a disrespect to the Senate. But with all of this, what happens to the petition she filed against sexual harassment? Because they say it wasn't because of that she was suspended. She was suspended because of her conduct and, the altercation and the disrespect that she brought onto the Senate in their own way of wanting to uphold the rules and the sanctity of the Senate. But what's your take on that? Please keep your opinions clean and straightforward and sane, if I may use that word. We're in a very civilized society, so let's be civil with our opinions. And we have our first caller on the line. Good morning. We lost the call. Okay, I really hope we don't start the day like that. But the phone lines are on your screen. You could also send us a WhatsApp message to the second number, and we'll be here to take it. Please do not call the second number via WhatsApp. Just send a message via WhatsApp. Hello, good morning. Good morning, can you hear me? All right, we seem to be having a little network glitch with our caller this morning. Now, the 6-month suspension, which followed her sexual assault accusation against the Senate president, sparked, widespread debate, and people are wondering, is this justified? Hello, good morning. I can barely hear you. If you can hear me, tell us your name and where you're calling from, and go ahead with your thoughts.
Hello.
I can hear you. Good morning.
Morning, how are you, ma'am?
I am fine, thank you. Please turn down the volume of your TV.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Okay.
So tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Gombe State, ma'am.
Okay.
My name is Buba Maipa.
All right, go ahead.
I didn't support the suspension of Senator Natasha.
Okay.
In fact, justice must be done in that regard. And a thorough investigation into the issue. They would have carried a thorough investigation into the issue before suspending her. That is my view.
Thank you very much for your thoughts there. Thank you for calling in as well. So according to him, he says a thorough investigation should have been done. Now, let's not forget that prior to her own submission of a petition to the Ethics Committee, the Senate had one initially when the whole outburst happened, submitted a petition to the Ethics Committee saying that she should be looked into, especially in her conduct towards how, she handled her altercation with the Senate president and everything that basically played out before the conversation around sexual harassment came out. From what the lawmaker was saying, she came out on Brekete and on Arise and said a lot of things which was taking the business of the Red Chamber out of the Red Chamber. Hence, that was why the suspension took place. But do you think it was justice, given the fact that there's a sexual harassment petition currently going on that she had signed? How do you perceive the way the Senate handled the sexual assault allegation, especially the fact that it involved a high-ranking official. Do you think they handled it well? I remember when we spoke about this yesterday, I said the world is watching to see how it's going to be handled. Now, shelving that aside and taking out a suspension on her because of the misconduct, according to what they are saying, do you think that is fair enough? Is it justified, or does it reflect an abuse of power within the Senate? What impact does this have when it comes to, encouraging women's participation in politics? We want to hear your thoughts on all of that. The phone lines are open. The numbers are displayed on your screen. Call in or send us a message on WhatsApp, and we'll be here to take them. We'll be here to take your calls and your messages as well. So the question still stands. Do you think, or what is your take on Natasha Akpoti's suspension? Do you support it? If you do, well, tell us why. And if you don't, we'd also love to know why. And aside that, now, what measures? Nigerians had, put out lots of measures in place, talking about, different things that could have been done differently. Like our last caller said, an investigation should have been carried out. A proper investigation should have been carried out to ensure or look into all angles to it. Do you think more could have been done regarding this, or it was just a play of politics and abuse of power? I would also love to encourage, women to call in as well and share their thoughts as well. Love to encourage women to call in and share their thoughts, on our topic this morning. Let us know your take on it and all that is playing out. Now, through the course of all of this that's happened, let's not forget that in a televised interview with Arise, she recounted an incident from December 2023 where she alleged that the Senate president made inappropriate advances towards her. And she submitted a formal petition where she emphasized that her accusations were based on concrete evidence and urged a thorough investigation. The question is, was an investigation done in regards to her petition, or it was done in regards to her conduct, which they kicked against, saying that she took the matters of the Senate way too much out to the public and made them lose their respect in the eyes of Nigerians? Do you think they still have your trust as a Nigerian, seeing how they handled this? It almost seems like they went silent on the sexual assault, alleged sexual harassment case she brought up. It almost seems like they've gone completely silent on that, and they only address the ones that matter to them. But we'd love to hear your thoughts. I believe we have a caller on the line. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning. My name is Umar Farouk, calling from Funtua.
Good morning, Umar. How is Funtua this morning?
Funtua is very cool.
All right.
With regard to what the Senate has done in respect of Senator Natasha, it is quite against all the non-principles of justice globally. Nowhere in a civilized nation can an accused person preside over a session in which he is being accused. Now the accuser is suffering while the accused is enjoying reverence and respect of his co-conspirators. This is an injustice, a disgusting abuse of power. And Natasha is not alone in this. All Nigerians, with all sense of justice in them, have to stand up against this inhumanity. This is cruel. It is wickedness. And I am speaking as a legal practitioner. If she goes to court, I am sure God will vindicate her, because what they did, they only conspired to prosecute her. Nowhere can an elected person be suspended by a fellow elected person, but because they have vested interest, they ganged up against her. And this is very worrisome. It tells you how bad the senators are. Even when we have a president that is ready to serve Nigeria, they will conspire against that president to frustrate the president. And all Nigerians need to stand boldly against them. This is my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marda, for your take. He said that if she takes it to a proper court of law, then most likely she would get the judgment she deserves. Before she left, she said that the injustice will not stand, and sounds like she was still going to keep fighting for justice. And I would say, Natasha seems like she's a strong woman who spoke up even in a room filled up with men that a room filled up with more male-dominated room, and she stood up and spoke her mind. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us your name and where you're calling from, and turn down the volume of your TV set.
Yeah, I'm Joe calling from Calabar.
I didn't get the name.
Joe calling from Calabar.
Joe, where in Calabar are you calling from?
From Calabar South.
Calabar South, all right. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, in all what we are looking at, I think that we are sort of being a little bit sentimental in the whole issue, because what really took place in the Senate, Natasha openly, the eye of the whole nation, disregarded the Senate. They have rules, they have principles which she should have followed them, and that is what they are taking on now. The other issue of sexual harassment is just an afterthought that came out later. The first thing is that she disobeyed the Senate, and that has to be treated, and that is what has been done first. Then after, she can go ahead with her own suit, which she should have brought up earlier. That's my own take.
True indeed. True indeed. You know, that was actually the point the senators hampered on. They worked strictly on the disregard and the disrespect to the Senate and to the Senate president, and that was where they faced, because that was the first one that came up. And I remember immediately after, they spoke about it and they sent it to a petition. They did a petition in line with that, and they worked on that immediately. But there's a lot that meets the eye to this, especially owing to the fact that there was a sexual harassment case pending as well, and it seems like it was completely ignored. Let's hear from Shatima. Good morning, Shatima.
Good morning.
How is Maiduguri this morning?
Good morning. Maiduguri is fine.
All right, go ahead with your thoughts, Shatima.
Well, Maiduguri is fine, honestly. Well, in respect of this suspension, Senate have to understand one thing. What this selective judgment did not affect Senate House alone, but affected the entire Nigerians and Nigeria at large. Honestly speaking, is very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Because something have been done, instead of them to be straightforward and investigate this thing thoroughly. I was trying the line of the Trust TV yesterday and a day before yesterday, in respect of this topic, but I couldn't reach you people. Oh. But honestly speaking, the issue as Nigerians that have spoke over this interaction section, that Senate President have to step aside. This is a mere allegation. Let it be investigated thoroughly. Let him step aside so that they will investigate thoroughly and justice should be drawn. But the suspension become as a surprise. But it's not as surprise as we are expecting. Because we know Nigerian laws and Nigerian gladiators, actors of the politics, they are not straightforward, they are not sincere. This is a reality. But how can you suspend somebody after this? She have raised her own allegation. Let you people investigate. Look at it. But it is not surprising me, as I said, because the law of Nigeria says is a law made by superior to imperial and followed by section. This law, there is some people in Nigeria, they have become above the law. They are untouchable. And this is the number 3 citizens that are affected. So we are not expecting just free and fair judgment. But let them understand that the whole world is watching them. The whole world is watching them. And it's a disgrace to Nigerian democracy. It's a disgrace to the ruling party. That shows that our female counterparts, they don't have a good protection. We are expecting a good protection from our female counterparts. Because what this senator was facing, Natasha, she's a mother to someone. She's a sister to someone. She's a niece to someone. If I told your own family have been tortured, you cannot feel good. So don't be unjust to to someone. If equally you are expecting you to be justice to be thrown on you. See, I don't know why. See, she's a Nigerian. She's a lawmaker. A judgment, a pre-appeal judgment is supposed to draw on her. Thank you so much. Please.
Thank you so much, Shatima. He is also, hampered actually on the fact, whereas how would this affect women who intend to participate in politics in the long run? She raised a petition on sexual harassment, and there was also a petition against her conduct. So when is there going to be an investigation into the petition she raised on her own path, given now that she's suspended? Would it be a case to come back to continue the investigation when she comes back after a 6-month suspension? Because the suspension came as a result of the misconduct they said happened in the Senate, which a lot of people have pointed out as well. But there was also a petition from her part. What is going to happen to that? What does this mean for the Nigerian Senate? Let's take another call. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning. My name is Danladi.
Good morning, Danladi. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I want to support the last speaker that spoke in Maiduguri. That these two parties should have been suspended. There should be equal justice in all ramifications. The action was done in the case was between the president and that senator. Therefore, those two parties are supposed to be suspended. The president is supposed to be suspended from his seat after investigation. But it's just because this is a woman that they want to pin her down. It's a slap to the democracy and even the party as well. Shows that there's some maturity in the National Assembly. So please, this issue is a disgrace to the country and even international. We need to caution ourselves. That one is a woman. So there should be fair justice in all ramifications. She is a woman. And the issue is between the two parties. Therefore, they're supposed to suspend the two parties. They're supposed to suspend the president and even the woman, and then they go for investigation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. That was our topic of yesterday when we asked, should the Senate president step aside amidst this allegation? And it's funny how this is being watched by the international body. The fact that Nigeria has been trying to portray a positive image to the international body on this is what we can be. This is being watched. But what's your take on the suspension once more? Send message via WhatsApp and give us a call. We're here to respond. Let's take the next call we have. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. All right. It seems like you are right in front of your TV set. We'll have to let you go. Please, when you're calling in, do well to turn down the volume of your TV set. It gives a very, very horrible feedback to us here in the studio, and we will not be able to hear you, and you will not be able to air your opinion. And that is a defeat of the reason why you're calling. So please turn down the volume of your TV set and talk to us through your phone. Let's take the next call. Good morning. Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
I've done that.
All right, go ahead with your thoughts. Tell us your name and go ahead with your thoughts.
My name is Francis.
All right. Samson.
From Latvia.
From where?
Francis. From Latvia.
Okay, Shamsu, go ahead.
Lilian.
Yes?
No rational Nigerian will stand with Senate on this.
Okay.
Natasha and Akwadio should be suspended. Not just Natasha. What is her offense? Her offense is saying what she's not comfortable with. This is
injustice of the highest order. Our senators should have their head in shame. This woman gets a consign. What we're supposed to do is investigate to know whether what she's saying is right or not. And suspend her.
All right.
Anyway, I thank God for one thing. She's a woman by gender, but a man in action. I think the court will be her. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shamsi, for your thoughts. You did say, the mind of a couple of Nigerians yesterday. Let's not forget that, what she was being suspended for was misconduct and the attitude how she portrayed the Senate to public light. But let's take the next call. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Taraba State.
Your name, please.
I'm calling from Taraba State. My name is B.K. Umar.
Good morning, Beatrice Umar. Go ahead with your thoughts. Go ahead.
Between Natasha and Akpabio, it's better to have them to sustain. That is democracy.
Please, can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
It's okay?
I can hear you.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Actually, the thing that is happening in Senate is not good. It's not good because there are not good process of the democracy in this country. We are not ready for democracy.
All right. Thank you very much for your thoughts there. He has said that what is happening now. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate your call this morning. So in line with every other Nigerians that have called, they've spoken about, the fact that what is happening is not fair and it is wrong. And, let's take the next call we have. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Abuja. My name is Richmond.
Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead with your thoughts.
In fact, what is happening between Akpabio and Natasha is a disgrace to this nation. In fact, Akpabio is supposed to resign for that allegation. There is no allegation without the ingredients of truth. And I said, Akpabio has to resign for that allegation, and that is the second. Yes.
All right, thank you very much for your thoughts. We have a couple of WhatsApp messages and we'll take them shortly through this segment. We'll take a lot of them are tripping in. We're going to take them shortly, but the phone lines are still open. Keep sending your messages and we're going to take them in the course of our conversation this morning. The question still stands: Senate controversy. Do you support Natasha's suspension? What could have been done differently? What ways could have been looked into differently? Were you expecting this outcome? Now, we had Amina that called yesterday. Amina Saidu that called yesterday and said, unfortunately, this is what she was expecting. I'm sure if she's watching, she would confirm and concur that this is exactly what she predicted yesterday. And then we also had, Warmates here who predicted the same thing, saying that there were rumors that there's a suspension most likely coming in. So these were all predicted and suspected, but were you also suspecting the same, or were you just expecting a different outcome? Let's take this call. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Emmanuel, calling from River State.
Good morning, Emmanuel. Where in River State? Port Harcourt?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I want to get something right. There's something that I'm not getting right. When does this allegation take place? We see it this year or last year?
In 2023. When it happened or when she dropped the allegation, when she spoke about it, which of them?
When she spoke about the allegation, when?
Last week.
Last week.
If you've been following the
When
news.
did the thing happen? When does it happen? Is it this year or last year?
Okay, where are you going to with this? It did happen last year, but if you've been following the news, I believe you would have all the information.
There's something I want to get. There's something I want to get right there. I think this thing is a political strategies. Someone told me that this woman is a PDP. Is it right?
Okay, where are you going to with this? Let's hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. If this woman is a PDP and Akpabio is APC, it's obvious that the woman and some group of people want to damage the image of the Akpabio. And according to the information, we hear that Akpabio is their family friend. When the woman do marriage, Akpabio went to their house and slept there for 3 days. He's a family friend. And come to think of it, Akpabio, he has all the money in the whole world to take any woman in the whole world. Even you there, if Akpabio needs you, will marry you, collect you from your husband and marry you with all his connection.
Thank you very much for your thoughts. Like we said, let's try and keep our conversation civil and, fair. And yes, a woman spoke up about being harassed. You're in no place to judge. That's just what I would say. She spoke up about what happened to her. It's her story to tell. All right, let's take a couple of WhatsApp messages we have this morning. We have one from Nandi Bete. He said, some time ago, the then Senate President Bukola Saraki was accused of corruption. When the Senate needed to carry out investigation, Saraki stepped aside as presiding officer and gave his colleagues the right atmosphere to do the investigation. But now here, someone is accused of harassment by a colleague senator, comfortably seated and judging his own case. This is injustice and impunity at the lowest level. By suspending Senator Natasha under these circumstances, it is clear that with every due respect, the Senate has depicted itself as an anti-democratic institution, helping to propagate the tyranny that is looming in the nation. This is not correct, says Nandi Bete from Ogoja in Cross River State. Then we have Kabir Mohammed, says the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpotu-Uduaghan highlights the need for a more robust and transparent system for addressing allegations of misconduct in the Nigerian Senate. The Senate must ensure that its disciplinary process are fair, impartial, and free from political interference. Furthermore, the incident underscores the importance of protecting women's rights and promoting a culture of zero tolerance for sexual harassment in Nigerian politics. Ultimately, the Nigerian Senate must take concrete steps to address these concerns and restore public trust in the institution. Thank you very much, Kabir, for that, which is what we've been talking about, that where does the fight against sexual harassment and gender inequality stand with all of this that is playing out? The world is watching. And this says, good morning, Trust TV and Nigerians. I'm highly in support of Natasha's suspension by the Senate because she is too arrogant and rude. She has succeeded in disgracing the entire country in the eye of the world, and she has to learn a lesson. Thank you. You didn't put your name there. And that was the reason for the suspension. The fact that there was an altercation that was carried. He said his name is Kabir Usman from Sokoto. What the Senate, this is from Kabir Usman, what the Senate has done to Natasha is injustice. At least the Senate President should step down to give room for investigation, not him, the suspect, sitting down and reading the punishment awarded to the innocent woman. God is seeing us. Nigerians are watching, and this is what one of the senators said. Nigerians are watching. She put on a petition there talking about, a case of sexual harassment, but it seems that wasn't investigated just yet, or it hasn't been looked into, or it's been looked into and they came up and decided to address just the misconduct. A lot of questions are being asked from Nigerians, and they want to know, where is the fight for women in all of this? What is being done to protect the rights of women? If there is more to it, the Senate should explain and be a lot more transparent to Nigerians, which, Nigerians are expecting from them. And this is from Rabo Merkafi from Kefi. He says, good morning, Lilian. The 6-month suspension of Senator Natasha was a violation of her right because the Senate has no right to suspend any senator for the fact that all the 109 senators were elected, not selected to the Senate chamber. Therefore, Senate President has no right to suspend any senator. So let the people of Kogi North Territorial District protect their rights, and indeed Senator Natasha. I urge Senator Natasha to challenge the purported orchestrated suspension in the court. Her privileges can only be denied but not suspension. The 10th Senate have nothing to offer Nigerians under Akpabio. In fact, 9th Senate under Senator Ahmed Lawan is better and coordinated than these 10th Senate. Akpabio should step aside and allow investigation to take place if really his hands are clean. The 10 Senates ganged up against Natasha. God will help Natasha. God bless Trust TV. That is coming from Rabo Merkafi there. You know, Nigerians have, you know, when we spoke about this yesterday, I said Nigerians are watching. Women are watching, and a lot of people want to see what is done. They have their rules. Each body have rules that are governing them. And according to them, the punishment for that rule of misconduct that happened, the altercation that started this conversation regarding sexual harassment, that brought about the whole expose and everything that's happening, that altercation is what they're hinging on. But what happened to the petition she filed? That is another aspect. That is what people want to see. Okay, no problem. This is what happened. The way she spoke to the house, how she dragged the house in the public, how she spoke on Brekete and on here and on there on her social media, and everyone that was willing to listen to her speak. All of that was her, you know, according to them, taking the business of the Senate out of the Senate and putting the Senate in the public light, being that it's an honorable house. But in the end of the day, she also filed a petition, and that is the petition Nigerians want to see. What exactly is happening with the, you know, sexual harassment petition she filed? Is it going to be investigated? Is the Senate President going to be sitting and allowing himself to be investigated, or is he going to step aside for fair investigation to take place? Now that she's been suspended, what will happen to that petition she filed on sexual harassment? Will it be swept under the carpet or given a wave of hand like nothing happened while they are hampering on the misconduct? Nigerians are watching. The international communities are watching. And this speaks a lot for the supposed fight against gender inclusion and gender-based violence and sexual harassment that Nigeria has been fighting. But let's take our last call. We have, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning, Lilian.
It's
Good Heart calling from Plateau State.
Good morning, Good Heart. It's so good to have you. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Really, I just want to go straight to the point. Yesterday, I tried to stress many points. You know, when they talk of Senate standing rule, Natasha has been there. She's no way a kid. She's a mature adult, learned. You know, when there's display that stand against the rule, they will state that suspension. They are happened to one, to Niji, the other from Brunei, so she knows that such can take place. That's why I said in other way that yesterday that there's a little mistake. I did this, she has closed her eyes that would have helped her. It wouldn't have gone that way. But now, the only thing I'm against is that they pronounce her suspension, but they did not tell Nigerians the fate of the petition she dropped. She spoke about the sexual harassment.
Indeed.
They will tell us that they will be investigating that. And when she come back from suspension, such will begin. Somebody pleaded for 3 months. Let them cut it short to 3 months. She can learn within 3 months. They said it depends on the apology. So they gave there's option. So if she's been placed on writing an apology letter based on this, let's see how she will take it. But what she said while going out wasn't too bad, but people will still view it for the same area. You know, if you enter media, you see what they are posting concerning her issue in her own set as Kogi. So I know if someone that has future, there are when you treat things, you treat with caution. For suspension, I know for one they will suspend her based on Senate standing rule. I've been following the senatorial. So, but on the issue of her keeping silent, keeping her down, when she brought the case up to present her, they said no, she has presented the case before the court. And she spoke clearly that she did not present the sexual harassment to any court in Nigeria. And that they did not tell Nigerians, okay, we are going to investigate this. I said yesterday for people clamoring, resign. It can't just be like that because it's Jagaban style they are using. And you saw it in Lagos. It's Jagaban style, just like Maradona style during Babangida. Unlike Lawan, some people are putting, he's there. I mean, Tambua, he's there in the Senate. So there are people that, if you think that they have to stand, thank God that Saraki was saying that they should be careful how they handle this or that. He had his own case during his own time as Senate president. And see him, even he entered dock. See, they docked him. He had to appear before the court. So the fact is that telling them told Nigerians, this is the condition. If this woman is suspended 3 months, they are going into investigation for this sexual harassment and so that if you warrant this man leaving that office first, you cannot present a case that somebody harassed me sexually and they just tell the person leave the office. It can't work that way. And remember, Nigerian style is not abroad.
Sure.
So what I'm saying for one is that let's watch and see what the senators will do, because this is disgrace. If they will totally calm down on that woman, they are telling us that women don't have rights. Even being a senator, a woman, a female representative, a senatorial, this thing does not mean that they can do anything to you. Thank God for the woman that spoke out. As a question, she spoke out. These are among women in Nigeria, the women of class. They don't allow any condition to intimidate.
Indeed. No, like you said, let us watch out and see how it's all going to play out. Thank you so much for your contributions. You've spoken and hampered on things. And I love the fact that you said that is a Senate standing rule. The fact that there was a certain level of misconduct that happened, the punishment has to come for that. But what is happening to the sexual harassment petition that she filed? Is it going to be looked into when she comes back from her suspension? Would she write the apology letter and come back, after the 3 months that were being appealed? There are lots of intricacies to this, but Nigerians are watching and they want to see what becomes of the rights of women and the supposed fight against the right, to support women, participation in politics, gender-based violence, sexual harassment in workplaces and all. Nigerians want to see that the main rulers and lawmaking body take charge of that. So Nigerians are watching and Nigerians want to see how all of this would play out in the long run. But if the Senate intends to make the suspension the end of it, Nigerians are still watching. Well, to everyone that called in, we say a big thank you for joining in and calling in on the show this morning. We're going on a quick break, and when we get back, the show continues. Do stay.